Welcome to more with the Mac Interactive session. We're going to have some short demos. We're going to have some Q&A. We're even going to have some special guests stop by. So sit back, relax, get your notes and ask questions, and enjoy more with the Mac Interactive. Alright, welcome. As you guys know, I don't know it all. So, today's presentation is going to begin with our buddy Hurry Allen, who also does some ACB stuff and iBug Today. You can go to ibugtoday.org to find out more about that organization and what they do. Anyways, we're going to follow it up with our buddy from ttjtech.net. Y'all might know him. You know, he goes by the name of Matt Baldbridge. And then I'm going to wrap it up with a little, another session of quick tip tidbits. So let's get those started.
Hello everyone. I am going to talk about how you can make use of column view in the Mac. There are 4 different ways of viewing your files: icons, list, column, and gallery. Icon and gallery are not very accessible, but list and the column view are very usable. But I am a really big fan of column view, though there are some things that you do need to know about how to customize it to get the best experience. So first, let's go to our Finder.
Messages,
from the dock.
Finder, Finder, Dropbox, window.
So my folder is Dropbox by default in the Finder, but no matter where you're at, you're going to have the same view. And we can make sure we're in column view with Command 3.
As columns, checked.
That is the shortcut way, but there are things we can do for setting the default that I'm going to talk about in a minute. So let's see here.
900, Aaron and Herb.
I'm going to go to my Recipes folder.
Recipes, folder.
And now I'm going to do right arrow.
List, 1 item selected, appetizers.
And like that, it just opened the folder. If I had it in list view, there'd be a little bit of a delay while it opened the thing and loaded and whatnot. But column view, it's just right there. So now I can go down.
Bars, beverages, braids, breads, braids, folder.
And if I want to look in a folder again, I can right arrow.
Apricot, pineapple, braids, pumpkin, pecan, breakfast, braid, docs. Office open XML word processing document.
And I'm looking at the files in here. If I want to go out, I simply left arrow.
Braids, pumpkin, pecan,
group.
Breakfast, braid, docs. Removed from selection, 0 items selected. Recipes,
so on and
group.
so forth till I'm back to Dropbox. Now,
bacon, onion, pinwheels, bacon, onion, pinwheels, RTF.
I'm
Removed
going too
from
fast
selection,
here,
0
but what
items
if I want
selected.
to actually move a
Bar,
file?
beverages, braids.
We
breads,
do need to
braids.
talk about this because
Apricot,
it is
pumpkin,
important.
pecan, breakfast, braid,
So I'm going to copy this pumpkin file here.
Copy pumpkin, pecan, breakfast, braid, docs.
Now, I want to show you something because what we have to do is make sure we are pointed to the folder we want to paste to.
Braids, pumpkin, pecan, breakfast, braid, docs. Removed from selection, 0 desserts. Folder.
And now all I need to do is be pointed at the folder that I'm going to paste to. I don't need to open it, just have my cursor pointed to the folder. And then I do a paste.
Paste item.
With Command V. And voila, it is done. Now, there's one thing that you do need to adjust in column view. And to do that, let's do our Command J.
Show view options. Dropbox. Window. Always open in column view. Checked. Checkbox.
This is how I can make sure that it will always open in column view. I have that box checked, and I'm going to view right.
Browse in column view. Checked. Checkbox.
Browse in column view.
Group by. None. Group sort by. Name. Sort text size 12. Show icon preview. Dimmed unchecked. Show icons unchecked. Checkbox.
Show icons I have unchecked.
Show preview column unchecked. Checkbox.
Show preview column I have that unchecked. The reason why I have this unchecked is because what can happen is if you have extra stuff going around, what it's going to do is make things more confusing, and instead of stopping at the files, it's going to kind of loop back on itself, and you don't want it to do that. You want to be able to have it stop at the files so that you're not all confused. Now, browsing in column view is also great, but you can also save files using column view, and that is a very important thing to know as well.
Let's
Personal
do
documents.
this actually. Menu. Checkmark. Checkmark. Dropbox.
take this to Dropbox, and I can
vertical
see my
splitter.
Dropbox.
Sidebar. Column view. Browser. 986 the mixed country chart. Aaron and Herb. ACB. Apps. Group. Bibles and studies.
And now I'm seeing all my folders in the proper order.
TTJ Tech.
Welcome to our very quick demo of using the Magic Trackpad 2 with the iMac in macOS Monterey. I have here a 24-inch M1 iMac configured with the Trackpad 2 sitting nicely next to my keyboard. A couple of little things. The trackpad is not a physical button. The whole thing is a button and supports gestures as well as physically pressing down on it to click it, but it is not a physical mechanical button. That is, it's a haptic button. If you have the trackpad turned off, it will not feel like it is pressing at all. Only when you turn it on will it press. Now, to turn it on, what you're going to do is you're going to look on the very back of it. You have, on the back, you have in the middle the lightning port for charging, and then to its right, on the far right-hand side, is the little round slide switch to turn it off and on. The Apple logo should be at the bottom, by the way. To turn it on, you're going to slide the switch to the right. Once you've done that, for the very first time, you're going to need to go on into System Preferences, Trackpad, and add the trackpad. It should find it automatically for you, ask you to connect to it. That's a one-time only kind of thing. And now we can just use our normal gestures. If you're an iOS, iPad OS user, you're very familiar with this stuff. So we're on the desktop, and I can just do a swipe to the left or to the right, and
desktop group.
Oh, one other thing I forgot though. I apologize. You can't just do that. I'm so sorry. We got to turn on Trackpad Commander. VoiceOver's already running. To turn on Trackpad Commander, you need to press your VoiceOver keys. That is Control and Option, or I suppose the caps lock. Hold them down, and while doing so, place 2 fingers on the trackpad and rotate them in a clockwise motion. Turn them to the right, like you're turning a dial. That's the rotor gesture on iOS and iPad OS you might be familiar with, and it's actually the rotor gesture on Mac OS as well, but we need it to, in combination with the VO keys, to turn on the Trackpad Commander. You'll notice if I do it, I get this message.
Trackpad Commander is already on.
Okay, so now we can do what I was going to say, and we can start swiping with 1 finger to the left and to the right.
Desktop group. Desktop group.
Now, of course, there's nothing on my desktop, so the first thing I will do is I will open the dock. The trackpad gesture to do that is a 2-finger double tap near the bottom of the trackpad. Again, a 2-finger double tap near the bottom of the trackpad.
Dock. Finder, open, 1 of 29.
There's my dock.
Actions available.
I'm going to go on into...
You are currently on application dock item. To open this application...
Okay, to stop the speech, you can simply tap once with 2 fingers, a 2-finger single tap, just like on iPhone and iPad. Flick to the left and to the right to move between these items. Here's a right flick.
Launchpad, 2 of 29.
Or swipe, whatever you want to call it.
You are currently Safari, messages, 10 new items.
And I'll swipe back to the left.
Safari, Launchpad, 2.
And when I want to open an item, 1-finger double tap.
Launchpad, App Store.
Now I'm
you are currently on the button inside of...
Sorry, I'll pause that. Now I'm in my Launchpad, which is where I can find all of my apps. Closest thing to that, analogy to that, is the home screen on your iPad or iPhone. And we can swipe up, down, left, and right here in this one.
FaceTime.
With 1 finger.
Messages, Maps, Mail, Contacts, Calendar, Reminders, Notes, FaceTime, Messages, Maps.
Okay, you get...
You are current. Find My.
Different directions.
Photo booth. Photos.
All right, so...
Reminders.
What do we want to do?
iMovie. Dictionary.
Oh, let's just
you are
go back to
pages,
the left here.
Stocks. News. Pages. Pop message. FaceTime. Note. Mail. Safari. App Store.
And
App Store. Safari. Window. Chooser. Menu.
Oops,
0
I'm sorry, I didn't mean
items.
to do that. I can do
you are
a 2-finger...
closing window. Safari. Safari.
Okay.
Mail.
Let's do Safari.
Safari.
We'll double tap on it, okay?
FaceTime.
With 1 finger.
Safari. Start page. Window. Toolbar.
Now again, 1 finger swipe to the left and to the right to move around.
Vertical splitter. Collection. Customizations button. Custom collection.
Can we
You are currently on a collection.
interact with that?
To begin interacting with the items in this list, press Control
Yes,
Option.
we can. Instead of pressing anything, we're going to do a 2-finger swipe to the right to start interacting and a 2-finger swipe to the left to stop. So here's a 2-finger swipe right to interact.
In Collection, Favorites section.
And now we can 1-finger swipe right.
Frequently Visited section. Shared with You section. Privacy Report section.
If I want to interact
You are
with one of
currently on a
those,
sec-
it's the same thing, a 2-finger swipe right. If I want to stop interacting now, 2-finger swipe left. Sorry,
Customization.
I don't know why it's
Collection.
not letting me do that.
In Collection, out of.
Okay, there it did. There it did.
In Collection, Favorites.
And back out.
Out of Collection.
Okay, so it is going to allow me to do that. 2-finger swipe to the left to stop interacting, 2-finger swipe to the right to start interacting. What else can I show you? How about how to access the menu bar? So remember to do to open the dock, it's a 2-finger double tap near the bottom of the trackpad. To open the menu bar, it's a 2-finger double tap near the top of the trackpad, like so.
Menu bar, Apple.
Okay,
You are currently on a menu bar item.
just swipe to the right with 1 finger.
Safari, File, Edit, View.
No, I want the view menu. Double tap or swipe down.
View, Menu, 19 items.
Swipe down with 1 finger.
Check mark. Custom, Always Show tab bar.
Okay. Now, if I want to, I can
Face.
Z scrub to
Customizations.
get out of that, just like I can press the escape key. That 2-finger scrub. 2-finger scrub. And again, they often refer to that as a Z scrub because it sort of looks like you're making a Z with your fingers back and forth, but really you can just place them side by side. And basically, it's kind of like, I always envision like you got a little spot on your table or your desk, just a little tiny spot, and you're taking your 2 fingers and you're moving them back real quick, back and forth to scrub that off of there with a wet washcloth or what have you. And that's kind of the motion of a 2-finger scrub, in case you're unsure of that. Now, some things, even though I'm a trackpad guy, some things are still, in my opinion, personal preference, right, easier with the keyboard. So, for example, Command W, I could try to find that on the trackpad by tapping up near the left. So let me continue by saying what I was going to say, which is that I can try to find the close button, but really and truly,
Toolbar.
okay,
Full screen, but minimize close button.
there it is. I can double
You are
tap,
currently on the button.
and it's closed.
Safari has
And
no
now I can Command Q. So I could have done Command W, is what I was getting at, right? But now we can Command Q also. And again, you could go up to the menu bar and do it that way on the trackpad. But here, I'm not
Finder.
going to be
Desktop.
crazy about it, right? You could do it this way. Now, if you do want to turn your rotor, so let's just go into Safari one more time. Dock.
Launchpad. Messages. Mail. Maps. Photos.
I use the launchpad all the
Safari.
time. There's
3 of Finder. Safari.
And I'm going to do Command L and just go to a website that I like, Mac Rumors.
Open location at stories.net. Words.com.
There it is.
https:// Mac Rumors. Apple News and Rumors. Webcon.
There we go.
Mac Rumors.
Swipe to the right on the
News and
trackpad.
Mac Rumors. Mac Rumors.
Gotta interact. 2-finger swipe to the right on the trackpad.
Link. Skip to content.
Now,
You are
I can use the rotor to control how I'm navigating this web page by up and down gesture. So remember, like with iOS and iPadOS, left and right swipe moves by element, one by one. Up and down swipe moves by whatever your rotor is set for. The rotor is a virtual on-screen control, remember. It's dynamic and it's context aware. And that means it changes with whatever you're doing. It knows what you're doing and presents appropriate options, but some of them stay the same. And it's customizable. So you can go into your VoiceOver utility and you can really customize that rotor. Well, on the keyboard, you access the rotor with a VOU, Control Option U, or Caps Lock U. But on the trackpad, you do that 2-finger rotation gesture to the right to go to the next rotor item and to the left to go to the previous rotor item. But once you've chosen a rotor item, you simply swipe up and down with 1 finger to act upon it. When we were in that menu bar and we were swiping up and down with 1 finger to go through the menu items, you didn't realize it maybe, but we were actually using the rotor. The rotor happened to be set for something called navigation. iOS calls it vertical navigation. Sorry about the getting tongue-tied there. iOS and iPadOS call it vertical navigation. I think you have that on tvOS as well, now that I think about it. But here on the Mac, it's just navigation, and it allows you to move up and down, which is very important in menu bars. But in other places, you might want something else. So let's swipe down right now, because I could go left and right on this web page, right, with 1 finger.
banner. visited. Link. Image. Got a tip for us? Link. Let us know.
But I don't want to keep doing that, so let's swipe down and see where that takes us.
Link. Let us know.
All right, I guess we're set for, I don't know what. Let's do a 2-finger rotation to the left or right.
Frames. Landmark. Form control. Headings.
That's what I want. Headings. Now if I swipe down with 1 finger.
Heading level 2. Link. 3 new iOS features expected for iPhones later this year. Heading level 3. Driver's license. Heading level 3. Square like payment.
So
Heading level 3. Apple Music.
We actually can
Classical.
do a 1-finger swipe down now to move by heading, and we can go back up.
Heading level 3. Square like payment. Heading level.
Go
First
back
heading.
to the preview, and it tells you.
First heading. Heading level 2. Link.
And
3 new iOS
if
features.
it's like iOS, let me just do something.
Links.
All right, it's not. At least I might have to change my verbosity. I don't know, because on iOS, it'll actually tell you how many links there are when you do that, how many headings there are, but it isn't telling me that here. But let me just show you.
Window spots. Words. Characters. Navigation.
There's the navigation one that we were on before. All right, so we can now Command W.
Close Wick Finder.
Okay, and there we are. So that is a quick tour, my friends, of the trackpad, and here's a little tip for you. Check out the VoiceOver user guide to find the complete list of macOS trackpad gestures, because there are others. Gestures for the window chooser. You have a 2-finger double tap on the left side of the trackpad will open
Application chooser.
application
Menu. To
chooser.
closing. Application.
2-finger double tap on the right will
Window chooser.
the window chooser, and there are probably others, okay? So we want you to check those gestures out, but for now, this has been a quick tour, and I hope it's been helpful to you. God bless you, and thanks for listening.
Stir it up. All right, we're going to wrap up today's session with my usual TidBit quick hits. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into mail, because there's a couple questions I got that I think maybe others may have. So let's open mail.
Mail.
Someone asked how you see your previous recipients or people that have sent that you've sent mail to. To do that, you want a VOM.
Menu bar. Apple.
Go over to the help menu.
File. Edit. View. Mailbox. Message. Format. Window. Help.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Window.
the window menu, and you can either hit P twice or you can arrow down to previous recipients.
Previous recipients.
And VO spacebar.
Previous recipients. Previous recipient search window. Search text field. Blank.
So you could search for somebody here, or you could just go over to the table and interact.
Previous recipients table. In previous column 1 blank. Name. Judy Potter. Email. 202. Last used. December 7th. 21. Column 1 contacts. Dimmed
And
image.
you get the idea.
Last email. Name. Judy Potter.
I could go to the name field and just arrow down.
Abby Arnold V. Abels. Alice George. Anderson. Amy Harwood. Anthony V. Tony Lewis. Out of previous
right.
recipients table.
And to close that out, just hit Command W.
Amazon Plus.
And you're back to your window. So again, VOM over to the area that says window. You can either arrow down till you hear previous recipients or hit P twice. The other thing I wanted to show you is how to move a email to a favorite mailbox. So let's go to the inbox.
All inboxes. All inboxes.
And
Toolbar.
I have a
Mail
folder.
vertical messages table. Vertical messages.
Interact with
in
the table.
Messages. Unread. Fuzzle M. RE. Unread. Your Pinecone neighbors. I have several.
Okay, this is a menu I don't even care about, so it doesn't matter. I know that my mailbox that I call important is on, it would be Command 2. So to move a message to that mailbox, I will just hold down the Control and Command key, and it will move that message to my mailbox.
Important. Unread. Rebecca Skipper.
And see, it even told me that it moved it to important. let's jump over there and make sure that message moved there. So let's go to the important menu, or the important mailbox.
Important. Early cues. Bit unread. Your pinecone neighbors.
And there it is. And I'm going to delete it because
Early cues.
I don't want it. Let me go to my Apple Everything menu.
Apple everything. Unread. Unread. Unread.
Mailbox, I should say.
Unread.
So if you want to get to the top of a message, or to the beginning of all your messages, Command Option up arrow. To get to the bottom is Command Option down arrow.
Unread. 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 Luke Robinette. Unread. Jason Castanquay.
So that's the message in my mailboxes table. Go to the top is
Unread. Janine Stanley via
Option Command up arrow. I didn't show you this before because I forgot about it, because I have a commander to do just that, to press less keys. But hey, that's just me and personal preference. I think that's everything here in Mail.
Finder. Desktop.
Close that out. Let's jump over to System Preferences.
System Preferences. Preference panes.
Interact with the preference panes.
In desktop.
And we're going to go to Security and Privacy.
Security and Privacy. But loading Security and Privacy.
Now, whenever you go into Security and Privacy, you have to enter your password to unlock these, to make changes. So that's what I'm going to do.
Help button. Click the lock to make changes.
And I'm going to click that lock.
Help in dialog. System Preferences. System Preferences. Help button.
Use my Touch ID. So now I can make changes. And the changes I want to make
Toolbar.
is
General tab 1 of 4.
under the Privacy tab.
Firewall. Privacy. Selected tab 4.
And it's
4.
already selected.
Privacy categories table. Location services. Selected.
Alright, here's the categories.
In privacy, contacts, calendars, reminders, photos, camera, microphone, speech recognition.
And as you can see, these are things that you would have to give apps permission to access. Like, for instance, microphone. You'd have to give permission to Zoom or WebEx, or maybe an app like GarageBand that you want to record in.
Accessibility, input monitoring, full disk access.
Full disk access. Let's stop interacting and go see what apps I have given permission for full disk access.
Out of allow the apps below to accept table. In tape us.zoom demon. SSHDKYGN Amadeus Pro. Dropbox. Hazel. WALTR Pro. Onyx.
See, these are
Layer.
apps that I allow to have full disk access because I trust them and I know their developer. So,
Out of table.
more times than not, if you're installing a third-party app like VLC, Amadeus Pro, Audio Hijack, you got to give it permission to access microphones or folders. More importantly, if you're installing an Intel-based app for the first time on an M1, it's going to give you the prompt for an app called Rosetta, which basically is an app that runs in the background. You don't see it in your applications folder. If you went into utilities and went to disk usage, you might see it there, but it runs in the background and allows Intel based apps to run on an M1 with no issue. It's one of those set it and forget it things. You authorize it once, and anytime you run an app that's Intel based, it just works. So, but more times than not, if you're installing something like VLC, pCloud, Dropbox, Google Drive, whatever the case may be, you're going to have to go to System Preferences, Security and Privacy, click the Privacy tab, unlock to make changes, and go to the area where it told you to give it permission. More likely for apps like that, it's going to be your downloads folder, your microphone for Zoom, accessibility for Dropbox, things of that nature. Alright, and I've gotten a few questions about this next feature a couple times, so I'm just going to go demonstrate it. And it's in Zoom.
Finder. Desk.
So let's open up Zoom.
Zoom.us. Zoom window. Back in chat. Command plus.
Okay, so we're going to go to System Preferences, or not System, we're going to go to Zoom Preferences with Command, comma.
Preferences. Settings. System dialog. Settings. Settings. System dialog. Settings. Vertical splitter. Table. General. Selected.
Alright, General. It said it's a table, so I'm going to interact.
In table. General. Selected. General. Video. Audio.
All right, this is where you would adjust what microphone or headset you want to use. But what I want to show you is
Accessibility. Row 13.
accessibility. And that's all the way at the bottom. Get down there the best way you know how. I just use my commander, which is option 2. You can also use VO keys function and the right arrow to get down there. So now I'm going to stop interacting.
Add vertical splitter. Scroll area.
Scroll area. By now we know with the scroll area you have to interact, but in case you think that's not the case, let's see what VoiceOver says.
You are currently on a scroll area. To begin interacting with the contents of this scroll area, press Control, Option, Shift, down arrow.
And he said exactly what I said. I just didn't say the keys. So we interact here.
In font size. 11.1%.
All right, so there's a lot of visual stuff in here. I'm going to go all the way to the end so I can show you what I'm looking for.
Table. Enable. Description. Restore defaults button. Screen reader alerts.
Screen reader alerts. This is what I want to look for. VO spacebar here.
Restore defaults button. Description. Enable. Table.
All right, so I'm going to interact with this table.
In table. I am chat received. Selected. I am chat received.
All right, so he's basically going to tell you what's here and if it's checked or unchecked. I'll let you know. I'm not even going to let you know. This is personal preference. I am chat. If somebody chats me while I'm in Zoom, I guess I want to know what it says.
Participant has joined left meeting. Host only.
I don't want to hear that.
Participant has joined left waiting room. Host only.
Don't want to hear that.
Audio muted by host.
Don't want to hear that.
Video stopped by host.
Don't want to hear that.
Screen sharing started stopped by a participant.
Now that might be important depending on if you're the host or not, but if you're just somebody attending the meeting, that's something that you probably don't want to hear. But you get the idea. So the bottom line is interact with the table, listen for your prompts, let VoiceOver tell you what to do, granted that you still have your hints turned on, because this is where you're going to come to stop all those annoying leaving join meeting, screen share, stuff like that. You don't have to turn off VoiceOver and then turn it back on just to get rid of these prompts. So remember, Zoom preferences, interact with the table, go all the way down where it says accessibility, interact with that table, or that scroll area, I'm sorry, find screen reader prompts or announcements, and go all the way to the right, VO right arrow, interact with that table, and that's where you'll check and uncheck the things you don't want to hear.
Add a table.
And that will do it for this week's TidBit Quick Hits. All right. We know the routine. You got a question? Raise your hand. If you got something about column view, I'll unmute Mr. Herbie Allen. He can talk to you about that. I'm going to have to unmute. Well, Matt's a host, so he can unmute if you have something about trackpad. Little did he tell me, and I should have listened to the recording, that he was going to give you an introduction to Safari, so I guess I don't have to do that. Remind me of my boys on the podcast, always jumping ahead.
I am getting my new Mac tomorrow, I think.
Awesome.
And I was just wondering if you can remind me, one of you, either you or Cliff, how, when I start it, will VoiceOver come up right away, or do I need to do something? Because
What are you getting?
MacBook Air with the M1.
All you got to do is open it.
Yep.
Okay.
It's gonna, when you turn it on, it's going to speak to you, and it's gonna say I think it says press return for English or something like that, and then it'll tell you.
I think it's switched it now. English is, well, I mean, if it's shipped in the U.S., it does that, but I think it's going to tell you if you're a VoiceOver user. It might say press the letter V, and it might tell you to push Command F5. I can't remember.
Right.
I haven't set one up in a while, but.
Yeah, I can't remember either from doing my iMac, but it's, it's a sequence there, but it walks you right through it.
Yeah,
Yep.
well, like I've mentioned in all my recordings, VoiceOver never steers you wrong.
What is the reason you said not to set up in the to always, when you have QuickNav on in Safari, is that it's better not to have it with the quick keys on by default? And
that's a preference. I mean, I
okay.
I have what they call activity, set up. So when I open Safari, Quick Nav comes on, single letter navigation comes on, and I'm able to do what I want to do. But if that stuff, if I didn't have that activity set up, then yes, I'd have to turn all that. Well, Quick Nav would automatically be on, but I would have to turn single letter navigation on.
Oh, okay, because I turned it on and I didn't know whether do I expect problems down the road.
No, no, you're not gonna have any
Okay.
problems. You just got to use it with Quick Nav. It can't be used without Quick Nav being on.
I wanted to know too, with the mail, I was trying to send things to my calendar, but and this is on my Mac, but when I went to my calendars, like give an example for today's session, it was not on there. And I was like, what did I do?
How are you trying to send something to your calendar from your mail?
Like when they have an address, not an address, but a date that we have a meeting, and I wanted to send it to my creative event on my calendar. It didn't show it on my Mac, but it is on my phone.
I was about to say, if VoiceOver doesn't give you the prompt that there's an event on your Mac, it should ask you if you want to add it to your calendar. But the other thing is, if you are already on the TTJ training calendar, there will be no need for you to add it to your calendar.
That's
no,
true.
I was wanting to do that so that I could try doing the classes on my Mac.
Well, there's a couple other factors that may be contributing here. For one thing, if you happen to have, and I don't know if you do or don't, but the most common issue that we run into with this is if you happen to have more than one calendar account, like let's say you're using iCloud, but also Google or Outlook or something. If you don't have the exact same settings on both your phone and your Mac, you're not going to see the events because they might get added to a different calendar than you think they're being added to. The other thing, if you subscribed to a calendar on your phone, it doesn't sound like this is what the issue is here, though, because you said you're adding it from an email. So it's probably the first issue that I said. If you are subscribed to a calendar from your phone, it is not automatically subscribed from the Mac. At least that's what Apple's documentation says. But I suspect it's the first issue, which is that you may have multiple calendar accounts on one device that are not set up on the other. And if you're adding something from mail and it shows up on your iPhone's calendar, but not your Mac calendar, that's probably what's going on. Now, you could check on your Mac under System Preferences. You open up System Preferences, and then you click on your name, and you go into your iCloud settings. You could make sure that Calendars is checked, but I think that's usually checked by default, isn't it, Cliff? That shouldn't be an issue, right?
The only way that wouldn't be checked is if you went and unchecked it. But on your phone, you want to make sure that your iCloud calendar is your default calendar, because that's
where I suspect the problem is. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, because my phone and pad are on my Gmail, but my my Mac is my iCloud.
Yep, that's probably the issue.
That's the issue then. So yeah, what you want to do is go into your phone and go to settings and go to calendar, and where it says default calendar, pick an iCloud calendar so that everything gets added to iCloud. Unless you really do want to use that Gmail, then you have to change it on your Mac. You would have to add that in there. But I mean, that's personal preference, but I can't see why anybody would choose to use that unless they had to for some reason, over iCloud, because iCloud would be the better option there.
When you're going through your email with the touchpad and you swipe right to go to email, when you want to delete an email, is it just a flick up?
That's a good question.
That would be a no.
Don't think I was
going to say, because you actually have to hit the delete key on the keyboard. It would be
nice. Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean that would be nice because you can do that on the iPad and the phone. But remember, the screen on the iPad or on the Mac is not touch, so that gesture would have to be.
Okay.
From what I have seen, now I'm really not the person to, I can make it seem like I know what I'm doing, but the reality of it is I use the Mac about 0.001% of the time, and the rest I'm iPad and iPhone. But from what my limited experience has shown me, there really isn't an actions rotor on the Mac like there is on iPad and iPhone, where you get all those kinds of actions per se like that. There is a rotor, but you just are not going to see those actions, which that's what's required to get that swipe up the delete option.
Okay.
But again, I will remind people, if you didn't read your email today, because I sent one out, that if the feedback doesn't keep coming, this class is going to end earlier than scheduled. We're scheduled for every day or every week in February. March and April is going to be once a month, but it's going to look like the end of February will be the end of the class if we don't get much more feedback, because we've pretty much already given you all the tools that you need to navigate and, you know, learn and get what information you need in each app. We've given you all the big ones, except Matt gave you an intro to Safari today, and I'm going to go over that more next week, and along with Pages and Text Edit. But other than that, you know, besides a few quick hits on calendars and contacts, other than that, I mean, everything else you're going to have to pretty much poke around on your own. I mean, that's how I learned. That's how Matt learned. And remember, we didn't have this training back in 2009 and 2010. Another quick tip that, you know, I told y'all we learn stuff every day, and I was doing this earlier because my wife had sent me a couple of links to look at some reviews on stuff that she wanted to get off Amazon. Hint, hint. But anyway, Command Option or VO Command L in Messages will take you to the next, and you add the Shift key to take you to the previous link within the conversation. So if you're already interacted with the messages collection, as VoiceOver calls it, and you do VO Command L, it will take you to a link, and Shift will take you to the previous link. So that's a nice little tidbit there. All right. Well, like I said, if give us some feedback, tell us what you want to learn about, or any questions about today's session. Otherwise, God bless and thanks for joining us.
Yep. Take care, everybody. God bless you.
Thanks for joining More with the Mac Interactive. If you didn't get your questions answered or you have another concern, email support@ttjtech.net. I'm Trainer Cliff. Thanks for joining us.